Greetings to you and thanks for joining us. Today, we're going to get into computer applications. We expect that you should already know what computers are, what a computer software is, and what a computer hardware is. We also expect that you should already have a good mastery of using a mouse and a keyboard. Finally, we expect that you should know what the basics of a graphical user interface is. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create a document. Remember that? We said we had four major types of icons in our computer. We said we had program icons, file icons, folders, and the shortcut icons. A document, therefore, falls under the category of file icons. So by the end of this lesson, we should be able to create a file of typed document. Remember that a computer is an electronic device that accepts data, processes the data under set instructions, produce output with the possibility of storing the data. We also have to remember that there are three major components of a computer: the computer software, the computer hardware, and a user. We said the major difference between a computer software and a computer hardware is that while the hardware is physical, that we can touch with our hands, the software cannot be touched with the hand. We also said that the graphical user interface of a computer is made up of a pointing device, in this case a mouse, made up of icons, windows, and menus. This, we said, makes the use of a computer very easy, especially for first-time users. First-time users are supposed just to use a mouse, and by clicking with their mouse, they are able to use a computer, give instructions to the computer, and communicate with the computer without any difficulty. Computer applications are a category. They fall under the category of softwares. Remember that we said softwares are of two major groups. You have the system softwares and the application software. Now, the easiest way for you to understand the difference between a system software and the application software is that the system software links the various parts of a computer together. For the mouse to be able to communicate with the keyboard and to communicate also with the hard drive, it is the system software that permits them to know each other. It is the system software that permits the mouse to give instructions to the hard drive. Now, the application software is a series of instructions designed to permit the computer execute a specific task. It means that applications have just particular things that they permit the computer to do. Now, talking about the importance of an application software in a computer, application softwares, they extend the functionality of a computer. Take, for example, imagine the smartphone in your hands. Now, take away WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Just imagine that these applications momentarily disappear from your phone. Of what use would the phone really be? Because I know that the majority of you use your smartphones basically to chat on WhatsApp, to chat on Facebook, to watch videos on YouTube, and to chat on Twitter, and so on and so forth, right? So you will agree with me that without these applications, your phone is as good as nothing. It is the same thing with a computer. Without computer applications, a computer is as good as nothing. We are going to use a word processor as our first application to see how its user interface looks like. We're also going to look at the tools that are available in a word processor. We'll take up time to look at the powerful functionalities embedded in a word processor. In my case, I'm going to use Microsoft Office Word 2016. You can practice with any other example of word processor like LibreOffice, WPS, WordPad. Worthy of note, you must not know how to use all the applications. In fact, it is not even possible for you to know how to use all the applications, but you need to master the applications that you need to use daily. It means, therefore, that the very first thing that we should be using our computers to do should be to be able to type our letters, to be able to produce our reports, to be able to write our projects in our computer. Now, these are the elementary things that we should be able to use our computer to do, and a word processor is readily available to help us execute these tasks. A word processor, therefore, is a computer program used for creating, editing, formatting, saving, and printing documents. It's just as simple as that. It is a computer program that is used to create documents, to edit the documents, format the documents, save, and to print the documents. You can therefore use a word processor to produce your reports, letters, projects, and a lot more. Now, to use a word processor, we need to open our favorite word processor. In my case, I'll be using Microsoft Office Word. Remember again that you can experience it with WordPad, LibreOffice, WPS, or any other one. Now use your Windows search bar. Remember, it is located at the bottom left of your screen. Type and locate your favorite word processor. Type the name and wait. Now click on it and wait for it to load. Now go ahead and make some preliminary selections. When that is done, you will have the word processor window opened. When your word processor window is open, right, this is your word processor window that opens. In my case, Microsoft Office Word 2016. In this window, we have the title bar. The title bar contains the name of this file. In the case where we have not saved the name, it will have no name. At the top right-hand corner, we have 3 buttons. These buttons will permit you to minimize, to restore or maximize, or to close the window completely. Remember that if you allow your mouse to rest on any of these buttons, a tip will come up explaining briefly what that tool or what that button can do. Below your title bar, you have the ribbon. The ribbon contains tabs. These tabs are the Home tab, the Insert tab, the Design tab, the Layout tab, References tab, Mailings tab, Review, View, Developer, Help, PDF Element, and maybe others. Now, at the beginning of this ribbon, you have your File menu. Your File menu contains quite a lot of functionality. There are items on your File menu. You can go to Home, New Document. You can open a document that you have saved already. You can have the document's info. You can save as, you can print, share, and do all the other options. Now, remember that for you to execute any of these actions, you need to click on it once. Clicking, remember, we expect you already to know how to press your mouse buttons. You click by pressing the left mouse button. Below your ribbon is made up of toolbar. Your toolbar contains tools. These tools will enable you to be able to add some features to your document. You can think of these tools as tools in a garage used by a mechanic. You can imagine what a spanner does to a mechanic. You can think of what a pliers will help a mechanic to do. That is what these tools will help you to do. Even in a tailoring workshop, if you think of what a needle does, then that is exactly what these tools will help you to do on your document. Now, the tools on the toolbar varies depending on the tab that is open. We are on the Home tab. Now look at what will happen when I click on the Insert tab. The Insert tab now contains a different set of tools. When I click on the Design tab, it will display its own set of tools. When I click on the Layout tab, a new set of tools will appear. Same thing with the Reference tab and the same thing with the Mailings tab. That is what happens when you click on it, a new set of tools will appear. Now let's go back to our Home tab. On our Home tab, we have tools. And remember that unlike any other tool, like any other thing in the computer, if you allow your mouse to rest on any of these tools, then exactly it will produce a brief description of what that tool can help you to do. At the moment when you're looking for tools to use, you are looking for little images with their names either below it or beside it. And you also know that when you allow your mouse to rest, it's going to produce a brief description of what that particular tool can do. That is exactly what is going to help you do. Now, immediately below these tools, notice also that your tools are in groups. On the Home tab, we have the Clipboard group. In the Clipboard group, we have the Paste tool, the Cut tool, the Copy tool, and the Format Painter tool. The Cut tool is a scissors. It means that will permit you to cut. Your Copy tool will permit you to copy selected text. Your Paste tool will permit you to paste a text that you have copied to your clipboard. That is what the tools in the Clipboard group on the Home tab would permit you to do. You can go ahead to the next group. The next group is known as the Font group. In the Font group, you have different tools that will permit you to execute different things. You can go ahead and take your mouse, move your mouse pointer, allow your mouse pointer to rest on any of these tools and read briefly what it does when you click on these tools. That is exactly how you use your tools. Now, below your tool, you have rulers. We have horizontal rulers and vertical rulers. What these rulers does is that the rulers permit you to define margins. Your margins, it permits you to also see how your margins are. It permits you also to set tab stops, and it permits you to give indents to your document. Details of all of this, we're going to see it in subsequent lessons. Today, just know that this bar up here, this graduation that you have up here is known as a ruler. It starts from 1 up to 20. That is the graduation. And the vertical graduation also is known as a ruler. So you have it at the top and to the left. At the top is known as a ruler, and to the left is also known as a ruler. It permits you to define margins, define indents, and define tab stops for your document. And remember that margins are the areas on your document where text will not enter. It means, therefore, that if we can play with our margins, then we are also playing by defining where text should start entering and where text should not enter. When you click therefore here, it gives you a straight line that tells you where text will start entering and where text will not enter. Now to the right of your window, you have what we call a screw bar. The screw bar will permit you to move from one view area of your screen to another view area. This permits you, if you are working on multiple pages, the pages will be aligned vertically from one page to another. You're going to use this screw bar to move from one page to another, or to move from the top of your page to the bottom of your page. You're going to use the screw bar. Now, that said, the middle portion, this middle portion that you see white with the cursor blinking, this small black thing that you see ticking like that is known as your blinking cursor. Your blinking cursor is inviting you to type. You type here using your keyboard. Remember that we said that with your keyboard, you can press the letters on the alphanumeric keys and the letters will come out exactly. I can go ahead and experiment. Go ahead and type a letter. Type anything that you can type and see how it's coming out where the cursor is blinking. That is where you enter text. Just by entering any text, you are already set to go. And that is done. And when you type, when the page is finished, the blinking cursor is going to skip to the next page. When it will skip to the next page, it will permit you to continue typing, and you continue typing until you finish typing what you wanted to type. The pages will be arranged from one page to the next like that vertically. And you can use your scroll bar to move from one page to another. Then below your window, below your word processing window, you have the different views of your document. The details of these different views and the zoom area of your document, we're going to see it in our subsequent lesson. But you can already go ahead and click on the first view and see how your document appears. Now go ahead and click on the second view and see how it appears. Then go ahead and reduce the zoom and see what happens. Then increase the zoom and you see what happens. That is known as experimenting with the tools, with the various functions that are available in your word processor. Now, like we said, that by the end of this lesson, we should be able to create a file. For us to create a file, we need to identify the program that we are going to use. We have already identified that we are going to use Microsoft Office Word in order to create our document. That is all right, and it's quite okay for us. We go ahead. We have launched Microsoft Office Word already. That is done, and that is successful. Again, now the next thing for us to do is to save our file. For us to save our file, there are two very important elements to consider when saving your file: the file name and the location. The name of the file and the location. In basic terms, you have to give your file a name and choose where you want to save the file. Remember that whenever you keep something in your computer, that thing should be in a particular place where you can easily find it when you are looking for it. We had a lesson on file management or organization of our files in the computer, where we said in your drive, you should have a folder for documents, a folder for music, a folder for video, a folder for images, and maybe as many folders as you have different file types. So today we are going to save this, our document, as first practice in the documents folder found in our drive on our desktop. Now let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to take my mouse pointer. With my mouse pointer, I go to the file menu. On my file menu, I'm going to click on save. When I click on save, I will have to make some little selections before I can save. I have the option to save my documents to OneDrive. OneDrive is a storage device provided by Microsoft for people using the computer. You can go ahead and save your documents to OneDrive. The advantage of saving your documents to OneDrive is that when you save on OneDrive, you can have access to this document across different devices. It means you can save your documents on computer A and you go to any other computer anywhere and you still have access to search a document. However, we are going to save our document to our PC. So I'm going to click on this PC. When I click on this PC, it will open the Save dialog box. My Save dialog box have many options there that are already by default. On this Save dialog box, we have the left pane. On the left pane, we have the various locations where we can save our document. We want to save our document in our drive, which we created during file management lesson found on the desktop. On the desktop, I have my drive, eSofa drive there. So I'll click on the desktop. When I click on the desktop, the various files that are available on the desktop and the folders and all the shortcuts will appear. I'll go ahead and click on eSofa drive. When I click on eSofa drive, I'll take open. eSofa drive will open, and when it opens, I will now be able to save my file either in the audio folder, the documents folder, the images folder, or the video folder. I'll go ahead and click on documents. In the documents folder, I'll now click open again. When the documents folder open, I'm now all set to go. I can now save my documents in my documents folder found in my drive. Now I can now go ahead and give my document a name. I'll give it a name, first trial. When I write first trial, that is enough to go. When I click on save, I've created a document. That is how you create a document. And remember that you can go back, open your document, and do modifications to your document. You can edit, you can format, and remember, after editing or after doing any modification, you should save before you close your window. Go ahead and try doing this. If you don't have your drive on the desktop, you can go ahead and create your drive on the desktop. If you don't know how to create your drive on the desktop, find in the video description below a link to a video I created on file management in the computer. Then you can watch and create your drive on the desktop without stress. This is very, very easy and very, very practical. Our lesson for today is done if you are able to create a document. And remember that we said a document is a file of type document. Now, if you allow your mouse to rest on your file, then you'll see the type there is document. If you allow your mouse to rest on your file, you will see that the type is document. That said, take-home message: for you to create a file in the computer, you need to identify the program that will permit you to be able to create the file. And if we have to say that creating a file in a computer is marked on 100, it means that just identifying the program that will permit you create the file is already more than 50% gone into your ability to create the file. Just your ability to know the program that you use is already a great step in the right direction. Once you have launched the program or the application that will permit you to create the file, the next thing will be to save your file. Now, for you to save your file, you can go ahead and take note of two very important things: the name of your file and the location of your file. Remember that there are so many options in your computer are by default, and the default settings are already okay, and you can already use your default settings without difficulty. We have not spoken about changing your margins in this lesson. We have not even spoken about modifying anything. We have not spoken about formatting. We have not spoken about editing. We have not spoken about any details in this lesson. That is because it is reserved for the next lesson. Do well to watch our next lesson, where we are going to talk about editing your files. Please go ahead and create as many files as you can. Remember to give them names that you can remember, and the names that will help you to identify the content of the files with those names. Also save them in locations where you can easily have access to. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure to know that you are watching us.